After watching this video, you will no longer struggle with guarding bigger players. Not only that, but after learning all the strategies and techniques I will show you, you will be confident guarding anyone, no matter their size. So without further ado, let's get started. The first tip is to get into their space and make them uncomfortable. The worst thing you can ever do as an undersized defender is let the bigger and taller opponent get in rhythm and get to their spots. Watch how Patrick Beverley literally attaches himself to Durant. This is how you should play defense on a bigger opponent every single possession, and it's important to play this way on the very first possession of the game to set the tone. I know these days you get called a tryhard for playing defense this way, but this is why he's in the NBA making millions of dollars. If he didn't play this way, he probably wouldn't even be in the NBA. So that just shows you that defense can make or break your career, whether that's trying to get that college scholarship or a professional contract. This is what not getting into the space looks like. You never want to let your opponent just walk you down without resistance. This is a shot that Kevin Durant has practiced millions of times. The defender just let him walk right into one of his favorite spots on the court. As an undersized player, if you do this, you're just making it 10 times easier for the taller player to rise up over you.
And 2 rebounds. Out of the timeout, they go to Kevin Durant. Why not?
Watch how Beverley moves forward instead of backwards. This is what providing resistance looks like. If he just would have backpedaled like the last guy in the other clip, then George just would have got inside the mid-range and rolls over the shorter guy. Another small detail is watch how Beverley sort of shimmies and feints at the ball. Doing this creates what I like to call mental pressure. It makes the ball handler extra cautious, which usually will lead to them giving up the ball like George did here.
It's a game, almost 10 rebounds. Zubac has got to match his physicality.
The second tip is to not shy away from contact. This one kind of ties into the first tip, but not shying away from contact is extremely important. Whenever a bigger player sees a smaller defender, he immediately attacks that player because they assume they can just overpower you. So the only way to counter that is to fight fire with fire. You have to show them that you're just as strong and physical as they are. On this possession, watch how Beverley bumps Paul George. He did that to let him know that it wouldn't be easy, even with George having like 8 inches on him. Pause. This is what shying away from contact looks like. Steph provided no resistance at all. LeBron got from the 3-point line to below the free throw line without breaking a sweat. And if it wasn't for help defense, he would have just took Curry to the basket. The third tip is to go for the ball. And this tip mainly applies to guarding bigger players in the post. Because if they're already in deep position in the post, then there's only so much you can do at that point. But here's where you need to be crafty and strategic. This is one of the biggest reasons why Marcus Smart and Jrue Holiday can guard players twice their size. Something I noticed is when bigger players try to overpower a smaller player, they usually are careless with the ball. This is most likely because they're using all of their energy and focus trying to back you down, which makes protecting the ball an afterthought. On this play, Marcus was able to perfectly time the steal, and this just shows his insane IQ and anticipation. He knew that the offensive player could only do 2 moves in this situation, either spin baseline away from help defense or fake baseline and go straight up with it. So as a defender, he knows exactly where the ball will be when a player performs those moves. This is what I mean when I say you need to be more strategic. It's never wise just to casually swipe at the ball. You always want to put some thought behind everything you do on defense. The bump steal is personally my favorite way to steal the ball on bigger players in the post. And the reason it's so effective is because once you and the offensive player make contact, the ball basically floats for a brief moment, giving you a small window to poke it away. It definitely takes a lot of practice to get the timing and location down, but when you get it down, it will skyrocket your defense. The last tip is to get stronger. This is probably the most obvious tip in the video, but one of the most asked questions is what specific exercises help you guard bigger players. So I'm going to give you several. The first one is to train with a weighted vest. Jrue Holiday said that doing this helped him hold his own against those bigger players.
I think being able to move with a lot of weight on you and training that way makes it easier for me on the court, because then I could actually play against bigger guys. I could withstand them. If I bump somebody, I'm not gonna move, they're gonna move.
And that's 100% true, because training with a weighted vest increases your overall strength, power production, and endurance, which is some of the most important things you need in order to guard bigger players from a physicality standpoint. Now, I know not everyone has a weighted vest, so an alternative is to fill a backpack up with something heavy like books or a couple jugs of water, or whatever else you can find that has some weight to it. Doing this will give you the exact same benefits as having an actual weighted vest. For the best results, wear it while you're running and doing agility work and footwork drills, etc. Another exercise tip is to train your stability and core strength. If you want to guard bigger players, you have to have a great core and balance. So in these clips, you see Jrue Holiday training his core by performing lunges at different angles. Also pay attention to the weight. This is where the stability aspect comes in. Holding weight above your shoulders while squatting will heavily activate your core. My other favorite core workout is doing different variations of planks. Before we end off the video, I have a few bonus tips, and it's learning how to front the post. Fronting the post is basically denying your opponent the ball by standing in front of him and moving him out of position with your butt and hips. This is crucial, because if you're a small guard and you find yourself matched up against a big guy who has deep positioning in the post, then you want to do everything in your power to prevent the entry pass. The last bonus tip on guarding bigger players is to take charges. I know everyone sees this as flopping, but the truth is taking a charge counts as a defensive stop, and it can be very useful when guarding bigger players in the post because the refs will most likely favor you since you're the smaller guy. And most importantly, taking charges impresses all coaches because it shows you're willing to do anything to win.
Crossover from Wade, inside the James. Offensive foul.
Defending for the lead. Good! Offensive foul! Wipe it away! Will not.
But that'll be all for today's video. I hope this really helps some of you become more confident when guarding bigger players. If you apply all these tips, I guarantee you become a much better all-around versatile defender. But let me know what other defense videos y'all like to see next.